Hello, and welcome. Today I am using Rumble Studio to stream to Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, and X. And I will be working on some art. Now, I do want to test one thing before I truly get underway, and that's whether or not my audio is working. So give me a moment. So the audio is not working once again. For some reason, Rumble Studio is not playing the desktop audio. And I've tried this with Chrome, and I'm now trying it with Microsoft Edge, and it has not worked in either of them. And I have gotten it to work in the past, so I don't quite know what's causing this. But let me see if there's anything I can do about it. I don't see any setting in Edge about screen share. So let's see. Let's see if I can get this fixed before I get this started. So if I go to presentation, it should probably be playing the music. Okay, I have it muted on my end. It should probably be playing the music. Okay, so there is something bugged where it's not playing the desktop audio in Rumble Studio on the other settings, and the other settings look better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to playing with my speakers. And the sound will be a little distorted, but I'd prefer that to what's going on here. Okay. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And let's see, studio. One thing I can do really quick is okay, and that was my intro. So let's see, I'm going to put on my viewership stats, and my chat will be visible, though the chat function actually does have a problem where it won't fade out. So if you chat something, it'll be there until I hide the chat again. Okay. So we're just going to have to work with the premise that the audio is just not going to work how I want it to, and I need to get back to what I'm doing, which is art. This is my art project, which is an entire font that's sort of castle-inspired and dragon-inspired. Yeah, well, if I'm going to be playing from my own speakers, I don't necessarily need my headphones on. Even though I do think the headphones are more stylish. So this is what I've been doing: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. I was working on the X last time, but this actually looks mostly done anyways. Might want to do a few things to it. So object, transform, reflect. And one thing I've said through the various streams I've been working on with this is that I do intend to come back and for each letter make the dragon head a little more custom. Especially for this one. This one looks like it needs it a lot. Like it looks best if the head goes this way, but I'm gonna have to remove that spike on the jaw. One thing I can do I do think that should be relatively good enough for the X. I'm going to want to maybe have this as a bit bigger too. Okay. Now it kind of looks like this. I think what I had before actually looks better. Hello, this is Mr. Casper, by the way. Mr. Casper, say hello. And Mr. Casper, that is no greeting. And you're not supposed to do that on my shoulder. Mr. Casper, that was very rude. Very rude. Terribly rude. And everyone knows what you did. Yeah. Fortunately, he missed. Mr. Casper missed. I'm happy to report that Mr. Casper missed. Okay, so we're talking about which one looks better. It's clearly this one. But also, let's see about how it looks when scaled to the same size as all the others. So here's one problem. The X is a lot wider than W. Mr. Casper, don't be rude. Come here. Come on. This is Mr. Casper again. Maybe he won't be so rude this time. If I bribe him with millet. Okay, Mr. Casper, I don't need you distracting me today, so I'm going to send you off. Mr. Casper is my little distraction. So, when compared to X, it's wider than X. I mean, X is wider than W, wider than M. So obviously I need to do it a bit differently. And like even this version is wider. So what I might do is I'm going to go back and grab the eye. So that's the angle of rotation that I was using. Object transform, rotate 15 degrees. Wrong direction. Negative 15 degrees. I think that's going to be what I need to use. Going to upscale it a bit. Object transform, reflect. No, object transform, scale, or rotate. Negative 15. I am going to okay. And then object transform, rotate, and this one will be actually 15. So let's see. So it's going to need to be more than 15. Okay. I'm going to want the dragon and dragon tail to be longer. Yes, Mr. Casper. And of course, the problem with the desktop audio not playing in the screen sharing for Rumble Studio is if I'm playing my music out loud in the room, then my little birdie starts participating. And he has no music talent whatsoever. He doesn't really even have that. Yeah. He has screeching. And if he's going to screech, then I need to turn my music off, which is annoying. Okay. Object transform, rotate, negative 22. Let's do 22. And object transform, rotate, negative 22. Object transform, rotate 22. Okay. G. So was 22 enough? I feel like it was not enough. So object transform, rotate, negative 28. Let's make that 27. Okay, object transform, rotate 27. Okay. Okay, that should be sufficient. I'm going to take it up to my baseline over here. Going to scale it up. And then maybe scale this down. Okay. And then I'm going to move it just slightly. Okay. That's probably the best I can do without having the X become too wide. It might be something to come back to. I'm not sure yet. But we shall see. Okay, Casper has calmed down. So I can play music. And if there's any music that Casper starts screeching to, I'll just change the music, I think, after pausing it for a bit. Okay. So that brings me to the X being done. I sort of don't fully like it just yet. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just can't be satisfied for some reason with this. And so I must play around with it. What I should do is I should cut this in half. I'm just not happy with how it's turning out. I'll put that over there. I'm going to make this sort of smaller. And this I'm going to make thicker. Actually, I like that a lot more. Makes the X a lot more square in general. It does make it a bit more different than some of the other letters, but X isn't used as much. And this one actually sort of has a more dynamic story to it now. Yeah, I can be actually fairly happy with that. Yes, Mr. Casper. So that leaves X, Y, Z. So Y and Z are the only letters I need left before I go into the next stage, which is making them more like this, which is my personal logo, which was made from the S and the M. I started with the S and the M over a year ago. I made that, and more recently, this year, I decided to make the full alphabet in the same style. So now the question is, why? Y and Z? And I think I might do Z first because I think I have an idea for Z that will work right from the start. Okay, let me grab an E. And let me grab that X that I was just doing. Group. Object. Okay, so that E will not be useful to me. I need to go back to an earlier stage. So I think that do this properly. Okay, I'm going to want it just as wide as this current E. Okay, and then I'll just cut off the sides that are too wide. Or actually, what I'll do is okay, let's make this red for the moment. Add opacity, just so I can make sure that I have them perfectly aligned. Doesn't look like I can actually get them any closer, but that should be fine. That won't be really detectable. And move this down here. And for this, I'm actually just going to say 100 and black. And then transform, reflect. So the question is, do I want to shorten this dragon up That actually looks like a decent Z, as is. Yeah, that's actually pretty nice for the Z. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that, so that leaves me with just one letter left. So that is Y. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with Y. So let's look to the fonts I've been basing things off of to a certain degree. So what I can do another idea would be to take from the J. Actually, that gives me a pretty good idea, I think. So, object. Actually shocked by how well that sort of works. Making the Y a two-headed dragon. Let's see. That does mean that it is perhaps a bit too tall. Oh, why it doesn't want me to grab everything. So let's see. Now, obviously, that doesn't work as well. So what might be best is okay. I'm going to have this one more closely follow the tower up. It might be better not to have the top of the tower after all. Let's see. Hmm. Actually, yeah. No, okay. Okay, I'm starting to really like that. This dragon head doesn't need to be as large. I do need to smooth it out there. Okay. Okay, and let's see how well this looks compared to the other letters. And look just how messy that is, but because of my work process, I was able to take various bits of earlier letters and apply them to newer letters. Okay, I think that D is going to have to be that large, and therefore C also needs to be that large. Okay, for this one, F is going to have to be that large. Mm-hmm. I feel like O is a bit of a standout for, or O and Q are a bit of a standout for size. But I made a mental rule to myself that I'm not going to care about the dragon head extending above the baseline and top line. For W, I'm probably going to want to. Let's see, use. Yeah, because M. Though with W, it's a bit different because M has an additional thing, and otherwise, if I just scale it, W will be a much significantly larger letter than M. So what might be best? W I need to fix in that way so that it is just as tall as M. Okay, there's where I have the W. Okay, let me move the W's closer to where the M's are. Control G. And because M is pretty much the first letter, M and S were the first letter, don't want to change this little design at the top of the M. Yeah, that's interesting. For some reason, the N here is not as tall as the M. Okay, that should fix it. That does leave something missing on the W, it feels like. So I can grab probably the I, and perhaps the... We'll grab this for now, and see if we can make this work. No, I don't think that's going to work, so let's see. What might be best is actually... putting a kind of foot. So none of my other letters have a foot like that. So that does make it a bit harder. That would be too much. Yeah, okay. So then... Okay, let's see. Would that work? Or would it have to be... something a bit more? The problem is I don't see... the correlations don't make much sense that way. Not quite sure. Is that actually a proper fix to the W? Sort of thinking probably not. Nor is that. Okay. So then, I think I need to go and let's see. Nah, not that one. Probably the I would be the best one to take, just for consistency's sake. Hmm. That actually looks fairly good. Okay, and let's see. Yeah. Mr. Casper is here once again, demanding food from me, extorting me. And if I don't comply, he will screech. Okay, flex. This little distraction. Okay, little distraction. It's time for you to go once again. Go on. Okay. Okay. Okay, quality. So what I'm going to do is... Actually, let me not delete that. Put that up there and this up here. Copy, object, transform, reflect. Line, align to top. Make this one blue to make it easier. Okay. Okay, I will go in this over here. Not entirely certain. Feels like that would work better. Yeah, I think that'll work better that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do that whole process again. Project transform, reflect. Actually, let's see. What? Oh, didn't I show you a way already, distraction? Casper, you are quite the distraction. Okay, Casper, the distraction. Okay. He knows he can get away with it because I'm doing other things right now. Let's see. Looks close enough. Okay, that looks better. Okay. Okay. So are there any changes I can think of that I'd immediately want to do? Do I think all these are pretty much fine as is? The most out of place with the rest of the font are probably, let's see. The first letters made were S and M. And they are the ones I want to change the least of all. N is made from M, so that fits. W is made from M. A sort of is in a similar style to M, This is one of the first letters that I made. But now it sort of stands out as being one of the more different ones. But it does very, very much look like a sort of church or cathedral style building, which definitely fits in with the theme. And unlike V, I can't use the tower one because it doesn't make any sense to have a sort of tower shape. So I'm actually still happy with number A, despite it being sort of outside the rest of the fonts. Then a whole bunch of fonts are built on the sort of C shape. C, D, G, O, and Q are all built on that shape. Actually, pretty much nothing's built on the S shape. I think S is probably still the best looking letter of them all. Z, I guess, could be a little wider because S is wider. And they are all capital letters, of course. Then you have the ones with crenellations. So E, H, L, and Z all have that element, as well as the tops of an arced crenellation with R and P and B. Then a lot of them use the stem that I made for I. A lot of them also have a wraparound dragon on that stem, if I can do it. So T has the wraparound. And D has the stem, but no wraparound. B has the stem, but no wraparound because it fits the dragon to go like this instead. H has crenellations in the stems. E has the crenellations in the stems. K uses a slightly different form of the tower, with this sort of extra tower coming off of it, which is only repeated on the P and the R, but at a different height for the P and the R. Because, of course, the K letter looks a little different. K and the R use this sort of same dragon. U is the I and the wraparound dragon making up the bottom to connect it. T has the sort of more extravagant wraparound, and the dragon goes up and then down and then across. Took a while to get the X done to my satisfaction, but now it looks fairly nice. Y is a two-headed dragon. So I think the next thing to compare of so this block will be S. Going to make it a different color too. That makes sense for S to be one of the wider letters. But just comparing, A is not as wide. B, not as wide. C and D clearly. E clearly. F clearly. G clearly. H clearly. And I'm going to make a second one of these for the I. Because I is going to always be the thinnest letter. And right now I'm just visually measuring how it sort of looks. J is obviously not as wide. K is actually slightly wider than the S because of that rather extravagant tail here, or foot. I don't really remember the terminology to describe fonts with because it's not important to daily life. Sort of like being taught in math in college, you almost never need the algebra. You need to learn how to fill out your forms for taxes, but you don't need the algebra. O is almost as wide if you count the spikes. Q is wider because of the tail for the Q. And of course, the S also has some spikes on the outside. R is identical to the K for the width. Okay. T is less wide than S. U, obviously. V, no problem. S and M are about as wide as well as W. So I could have the X end up be a bit wider if I make adjustments. And I typically don't count the head, so the wide is within tolerance level as well. Z can actually be quite a bit wider. And that might make Z a bit better. I don't know if I want to make X any wider, though. No, I actually think X is fine as is. So I'm not going to worry about that. I do think Z can stand to be a little wider. That's a bit nicer. And I think that makes the Zia look a lot better than it did before. And it's now quite a bit wider, but not near as wide as the widest letters. Okay, and now I'm going to just apply a little cleanup to this. Okay. And now I think I do want to just slightly shape this a little. Okay. Yeah, fairly happy with that now. We're going to want to also remove this part. Okay. I think that's fairly good. G. Control G. Control G. Control G. Now, one thing I will want to check on is because of that scaling I just did. Okay, that is right for that. But it does look like this needs to be increased a little. Which means I want to actually slightly change this again. One of these points is a little stubborn, I think. It looks like it's this one. And this one to a certain degree, yeah. Okay. I actually like that quite a bit more. For the Y, I'm going to want to and that makes it look quite a bit better. And I can also go ahead and do this. It actually doesn't make too much sense. So this is going to be one that I'm going to have to do a bit more on. This cell, the looping. Okay, let's see. Now that's a lot more complex than it originally was, but I think it still did a bit better. And somehow, when copying and pasting that, you missed certain parts of it, and I don't know why. Okay, did that get it all this time? Okay, so the Y I think is improved a bit by that. Now I might go back and, for example, increase the height of this. One needs to happen when this one is actually just trimming it. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that extremely small little blip. I don't think anyone's going to notice it in the finished product. Okay. So I'm fairly happy with that now. That's a bit more cleaned up than it was before. Okay, I am happier with the Z. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to finish up soon, but that probably gives me like 20 minutes before dinner, and then I'll probably come back after dinner. What I think I want to do here is for the lower part alone, for the lower part alone, I'm going to extend it relatively close to there. Okay, I think that makes the Z a lot better. So I'm happy with the Z, mostly happy with the Y, happy with the X, happier with the W, but I don't think I'm going to get it perfect. V is sort of lacking, maybe. And that might be just enough to make it good. Not because when I make it dimensional, it will be very similar to this and have this bevel. So rather than having them joined and being sort of seamless, having one part of the letter overlap the other will make it a lot more visually interesting. Okay, and where did I do the V? U I am happy with. T, yeah, that's fine for T. I kind of want to play around with that area just a little, but I have a feeling that I'm not really going to make any major improvements to it. Okay, I think that's an improvement. Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like that is the end. So I will be saying goodbye for now. So that's all, folks. I have to head to dinner. And thank you for watching. I am getting closer to being done with this project. It has been a very long one for me. But I am getting happier and happier with what I've done. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's all, folks. I have been Swabcraft.